Don, the stats aren't too different really for the two sides. What do the stats hide?
Yeah, look, it probably hides the efficiency and the ability, like for our guys, it was pretty disappointing and frustrating day all round. I mean, I thought, credit to Hawthorn, they put some really good pressure on our guys. I just thought our ball use overall, probably pretty much from the start all the way to the finish, was just not the level that's going to allow yourself to create the opportunities you need to and take those opportunities to put a score on the board.
Don, or Hawthorn's pressure, or how do you balance?
It's probably a combination. I'm not taking anything away from Hawthorn. I thought they played a really good game. They obviously, their backs were really disciplined about holding their depth behind the ball on us, and we were probably trying to go quick at times and then not executing well. And then when we did try and change the angles a little bit, we got caught out a little bit. So combination of both. But that's what the game throws up at you.
They've had
changes and not having blokes behind the ball. You still can't you?
What's that?
You're still going to be able to have players behind the ball, clearly.
Oh, you will be, and you'll get it through different ways, whether it be at a stoppage structure. Obviously, the centre bounce is the start position, but once the game starts flowing, the players are moving the whole time, and the patterns that they move allow you to get players, free behind the ball. As I said, too many times we were forced down the line and to outnumber for Hawthorn, and we didn't actually use the ball.
Suspected ACL, was it?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. That's what the doctor said to me. So, disappointing for him. Obviously, a guy who had an outstanding season last year, and we feel for him, and we'll get around him, and as footy clubs do, look after our own.
How big a blow is that to the back line and to the the club as a whole?
Yeah, well, it's not ideal. I mean, we start the season with high hopes, and we lose a player of Tom's ability, and a great player that people love watching play. So. But we'll have to find someone to replace him, and once again, it's disappointing for him. But we've got to move on. So that's the unfortunate reality of in his situation. It'll be support him as we will, but then we're looking for someone to come in and take his spot.
Who are some of those names that come to mind to replace him?
It's just post game right now. Obviously, we've got Kyle Hardigan who missed out. It was close. There's one who's come to mind. Andy Otten, who was a carryover this week. So there's a couple of guys in there we know can fill that void, but I just feel for Tom. I mean, fourth-year player, came off a great season last year. Probably just take a minute and feel for him and what potentially is in front of him.
You had a chat to him. What was
he's obviously he's obviously disappointed. And we've got to wait till scans to confirm everything else, but the initial signs are not great. But as we saw with Alex Rance, these things happen in footy, and it's an injurious game, and these things seem to continue to happen, and that's unavoidable in some cases.
A lot of teams are probably going to try to slow you down because you are very good when you play fast football.
Yep.
What's the countermeasure? What do you need to do better so that people don't drag you down to a really low
score? Well, I think that's the way the game sort of plays, and each opposition will defend a certain way. I mean, Hawthorn's defensive stuff today was solid, and we probably didn't help ourselves. I thought some of our execution, our decision making with ball in hand was not to the level we would want. And so we came a little bit rushed, and we weren't as effective using the ball. So, we've got other plans in place to mean that if we are slowed down, the options we have, and we didn't execute those well today. So, as I said at the front, just a disappointing and sort of frustrating way to start. But the reality for us is we've got 6 days to Sydney, and so we can't dwell on this too long. We've got to actually take it in context and go, well, look, I'm pretty confident the players, and when we catch up with them in a little while, we'll have a pretty good feel for what happened, and we'll get back to training and attack round 2. We've lost 4 points. We'll be one of the teams that'll be 0-1, but we've got another chance next week to win 4 points. So, again, we're not going to sit here and go, that's it. It's more, let's get on with it.
Don, how did you see Brad Crouch's comeback game today?
Yeah, he was good. He did some really good things. I mean, it's great to see him back out there first and foremost. And as I said yesterday in the press conference, for me, it's just great to see him playing footy. So, he generated a fair bit of ball for us. He'll be better for the run. There's a few guys out there that looked like that they're probably just coming in off a bit of not having played a lot of games last year. Will be better for that. So, we expect he'll bounce back and be ready to go next week.
Game 1 opening round rust, or is that too soon?
No, I wouldn't necessarily say that, but I think it's just we played a really good team today who had finished in the top 4 last year, and as I think you said up front, a lot of the numbers point our way. Our contested stuff was pretty solid, but our ability to convert some of our turnovers into scores just wasn't at the level compared to Hawthorn. I mean, they had few more forward half turnovers than us and converted those into 7 goals, and we had 30-odd forward half turnovers and converted into 5 points. Well, that just doesn't give you a chance to hit the scoreboard. So when our opportunities came, we didn't take them, as compared to Hawthorn, who did. Now, we'll look at that, and but again, it's one game, so there's not a trend there at this point. It was just a disappointing, frustrating day.
They have got a great record against you recently, though.
Yep.
Each time you come up against them, is it we've got to try something totally different, or how do you go about it when someone's
obviously we played them last year. I think they beat us last year at the G. So, and they play a certain style of game, which we haven't in recent times been able to adapt to. But we come in with a clear plan of what we know is going to help us create winning, and we didn't execute that today. So as I said, credit to Hawthorn, played a really solid game, but from our viewpoint, we walk away going some things there which were in our control, which we just didn't execute to the level we'd want.
Special moment for Chase, 1 kick, 1 goal, or first
Yep,
kick.
fantastic. Joins the club, I guess, of guys first kick in footy, kicking a goal. It's great to see him out there get an opportunity. It's a big game to come into, 50,000 here, and against Hawthorn. So great opportunity for him, and he'll be again a guy that will relish from that experience, I'm sure. Yeah, Douglas has got looks like a high ankle sprain at this point, so like a syndesmosis style. So we'll get that assessed and scanned, but he'd be highly unlikely for next week at this point, based on that, which is disappointing. It's the same one he had last year, so hopefully it's on the minor scale and we can get him up and going pretty quickly. But unfortunately, it looks like he's going to be out for a little while.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.